If you want to develop ridiculous athletic qualities and a wide range of athletic skills, then there is one technique you need to use with your training. And today, we're going to break that down.
Everybody asking, like, tell me your secret technique. Like, I shouldn't say that secret technique.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Coach Taryn, founder of Different Breed, and Different Breed Coaching is all about helping you become an athletic freak to get the best possible quality of life and health outcomes. And today, we're going to talk about a process that allows you to become an athletic freak very, very quickly. But first, I want you to think about Formula One racing. If you want to win a Formula One race, you need to do two things very well. You need to have a great car and you need to have a great driver. And if you don't have one, you can't do anything. You could have Max Verstappen in a Nissan Micra. He's not going to win the F1. And you could have me in the best F1 car of all time. I ain't going to fucking win it. Because you need both. And in fact, you don't necessarily need the very best of either. If both are pretty good, that's going to outdo the Max Verstappen in the Nissan Micra or the me in the best car in the world. You need both elements here to succeed. And we have the exact same thing in athleticism. When we think about athletic performance, it breaks down into two things. Skill, which we can think about as the driver, and athletic qualities, which we can think of as your car. Obviously, in this case, it's the body, and your skill in this set is you. And the athletic qualities we're talking about are like strength, speed, etc. And then the skill is how you apply it, how we apply athletic qualities. So we've got these two things, and these have to work synergistically for us to be athletic. Obviously, if we need both working synergistically, then we need to train both. And we can break this down into then strength and conditioning and skills training. Strength and conditioning is things like squats, deadlifts, bench, box jumps, sprints on an assault runner, anything that is specifically designed to improve athletic qualities. Skills training is things like handstanding, jiu-jitsu practice, rugby sessions, anything that is training your ability to apply athletic qualities. Of course, within skill training, you may develop some athletic qualities, but it's not targeted for that, it's targeted for the skill. In the same way, when you're doing S&C, you may develop some skill qualities, but it's not designed for that, it's designed to target the athletic qualities. And generally, you're not going to have the most crossover between these types of training. You need to do both. And the reason we need both is that literally any physical task lies on this spectrum between low skill and high skill. God, my board writing's got worse today, guys. That is horrific, isn't it? Bloody hell. Right, we've got this spectrum though. Everything exists on this spectrum, and we can look at things that are low skill, such as deadlifts. And the reason we can identify that as a low skill is an amateur powerlifter who's a male, 100 kilos, will outlift a professional female powerlifter who's 45 kilos. It's just the way it works. Brute strength plays so much more of a factor than technique. Obviously, the professional female lifter is going to have massively better technique than the amateur powerlifter, but just not big enough. The physical qualities play a massive role here. When we think about high skill, we can think about something like BJJ. Now, for those of you who've never rolled with a black belt, you probably won't believe it when I say it, but there are 55 kilo black belts who will fucking maul 100 kilo amateurs. There's just no way they're going to win. If you're a competitive black belt and someone who is untrained, regardless of their physical qualities, tries to fight you, the black belt's going to win. That's just how it works, because the skill is such an important element of this. I mean, if you don't believe me, go watch Demetrius Johnson when he fought the 255-pound black belt or 250-pound black belt. He's about 150 pounds, and Demetrius Johnson won. It was skill. That's what did it. Skill is very important in certain scenarios. So why does this matter? This matters because if we consider that every physical task lies on this, and we compare that to winning the F1, we can find the path of least resistance to success. As I said with the F1, you don't necessarily need the best driver in the world or the best car in the world. It's the combination that's going to make you succeed. And we have this exact same thing when we're trying to unlock athletic skills and develop athletic qualities. We need to take the path of least resistance. And we do that by understanding this spectrum. So I'm going to spin this around quickly, and then we're going to keep chatting. To improve athletic ability as fast as possible, we need to take the path of least resistance. How do we do this then, using the idea of the car and the driver and understanding this spectrum of low skill to high skill? It's really, really simple. So step one, identify what you're doing as low skill or high skill. So for example, if you wanted to develop a jiu-jitsu skill, that's probably high skill. If you wanted to develop your bench, arguably low skill. High skill, limiter is going to be skills training. Low skill is going to be strength and conditioning. And if it is somewhere in between, then you probably can do either. Then we need to compare that to where you are. So step 2, where are you at? Are you limited by the skill or the qualities? Depends on what you're doing. Depends if it's high skill or low skill. Obviously, you need to kind of make that decision based on where you're at. Once you've compared it though to where you're at and you've decided what limits you, now we can move into step 3. And that's actually unlocking the skill or winning the race. We decide which thing we're missing and we go after it full pelt. So if I'm missing strength, I build strength. If I'm missing skill, I build skill. If it's both, I go after whichever one is going to get me there quickest. And that is simply how we want to approach all athletic skills, because all of them are going to be limited by skills training or strength and conditioning, or a bit of both. And if it's a bit of both, we just pick the one that's going to get us there quicker. Do we need to train the driver or do we need to speed up the car? Of course, in reality, you're always doing both of these. You shouldn't just like stop doing skills training and only do S&C. Shouldn't stop doing S&C and only do skills training. But we can consider where we're going to put the vast majority of our time into that path of least resistance there. You know, if you've got a driver who's come second, and they're right at the top, and you can give them a car that can produce more torque and has more grip on the road, they're probably going to win. If you have a driver who keeps coming 5th or 6th, but they've got a pretty good car that won before, probably need to go after the driver. If you've got a bit of both of those problems, you're going to do a bit of both. But path of least resistance is always going to be the way forwards. Now, let's just talk through a quick example of this, because that's a lot of yap. And I mean, it makes sense, right? But it's hard to see how this can help us develop things so quickly, right? But it really, really can. Let's take the example of a jiu-jitsu takedown. That is a high skill thing. Of course, they are heavily influenced by S&C or qualities. Obviously, you need to be powerful and strong to hit a takedown, but they also are high skill. They are a high skill thing. Now, let's say you're 25, you go to the gym regularly, and you've got decent cardio, but you're a white belt. So, first, let's take the thing. It's takedowns, it's relatively high skill, it is modulated by qualities, so it's one of these in-between things. Now, we're young, we're 25, we go to the gym regularly, so we can assume we're pretty strong, probably pretty powerful, and we've got decent cardio. So we've got decent qualities. You don't need to have the best qualities in the world to do this. Our qualities are okay, but we're a white belt, which means we are low skill trying to do a high skill thing. So you have 2 options here. You could go the S&C route, and you could look to get as strong as physically possible, as fast as physically possible, so you can just blast through a takedown, and hypothetically that would work. I mean, if you're a fucking 200 kilo monster and you know a little bit of jiu-jitsu, you are probably going to hit takedowns on a lot of people. But you're not going to get it on everyone. And even if you were to take this route, it's going to take you years to become that 200 kilo monster. It's a really long process, which is probably not really worth it. The other option would be book 4 to 5 one-to-ones with your coach and work specifically on the skill of hitting takedowns. That's going to take about 5 hours. That's going to take a couple of years. Both would lead to the same result of more takedowns. But this is going to take significantly less time and be significantly easier. So it's the path of least resistance. So to develop this skill, we would come this way. And that makes sense. Now, alternatively, what if we were trying to develop something low skill? Maybe we're just trying to develop our max vert. Now, we could just keep jumping and develop the skill of jumping. And that would be jump loads for skill. You know, get perfect technique. Or we could build power through things like Olympic lifting. We could build muscle mass through barbell squats, let's say, for hypertrophy and strength. And we could jump sometimes. Now, in this case, the strength and conditioning path is going to improve our max vert quicker because we're going to improve our power, which is going to help. We're going to build our muscle mass, which is going to help. And we're still going to jump sometimes to make sure we're using a bit of skill training. If all we did was try and take this skill route, it would work. But again, because we'd be getting such a low stimulus towards the things we need, which in this case, you know, if your max vert isn't good, it's going to be your max power, your strength, your muscle mass that actually allows you to do that, then we're not going to get much of it from here. So in this case, the skills route is not the path of least resistance. This is going to take you a really long time. It might not even work. The path of least resistance in this case would be this S&C path, where we're going to focus on things to develop power, things to develop muscle mass, and then pair that with a little bit of skills training, because obviously we always want to do both, but S&C is going to be the way forward. So Hopefully that explains to you guys a really simple way to develop athletic qualities and athletic skills quickly. You simply need to take the path of least resistance. And the way we can think about that is treating our skills and our physical qualities as the car and the race driver trying to win a Formula One race, with the athletic quality being that prize of winning. And then we simply take the path of least resistance to get there. Hopefully that helps, guys, and hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight in ways you can program to develop athletic qualities quickly. If you've got any questions, stick them down in the comments and I will be replying. If you enjoyed watching that, please subscribe because there are videos like this every week. And with that being said, I will catch you guys next week.